To add and subtract fractions, I need to find the least common multiple for all the denominators. To do that, I'll first find the prime factorization for each of the denominators. All right, so starting with the 30. I'm going to break it down into any two numbers that multiply together to get 30. So I can break it down into 3 times 10. Well, 3 is prime. 10 I can break down into 2 times 5. So my prime factorization for 30 is 2 times 3 times 5. 40, I can break that down into 4 times 10. 4 can be broken down into 2 times 2. They're both prime. 10 can be broken down into 2 times 5. They're both prime. So I have 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. I can use exponents as a shorthand notation for that repeated multiplication. So instead of 2 times 2 times 2, I can represent that as 2 to the third times 5. 50, I can break that down into 2 times 25. 2 is prime. 25 is not prime, so I can break that down to 5 times 5. Well, they're both prime. So the prime factorization of 50 is 2 times 5 times 5. Using exponents for that repeated multiplication, I have 2 times 5 squared. All right, so I'll summarize it here. For 30, I have 2 times 3 times 5. For 40, I have 2 to the third times 5. And 50, I have 2 times 5 squared. So for the least common multiple, I'm going to list each factor once. So I have 2, 3, and 5. Now, if any of these factors have exponents, I'm going to use the largest one. So for the 2's, the largest exponent is a 3. For the 3, since there is no exponent, it's just a 1. For the 5's, the largest exponent is 2. And then I'm going to multiply. So I have 2 to the third times 3 times 5 squared, or 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5 times 5, which gives me a least common multiple of 600. All right, so I'm going to list these fractions in a vertical format. So 1 over 30 minus 9 over 40 minus 17 over 50. I need to get a denominator of 600 for each. So if I divide 30 into 600, I see it goes 20 times. 30 times 20 gives me 600. So whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. So 1 times 20 is 20. 40 goes into 600 15 times. Whatever I do to the denominator, I must also do to the numerator. So 9 times 15 is 135. And I'll bring that sign over. 50 goes into 600 12 times. And whatever I do to the denominator, I'll do to the numerator. So 17 times 12, that's 204. And I'll bring that subtraction over. So now that the denominators are all the same, I can keep the denominator, and I'll add and subtract the numerator. So I have 20 minus 135 minus 204. So when 20 minus 135 minus 204 gives me a negative 319. Now, if either the numerator or the denominator is negative, it makes the whole fraction negative.